Hello and welcome to the big picture. For years, there has been a debate on in this country about politicians and those in political authority or even bureaucrats holding positions of power in the sports bodies. While many sports bodies continue to be patronized by politicians, it's the cricket body, the BCCI, which has been much in demand among the politicians of all hue and color. Especially in the last decade and a half, one has found chief ministers and union ministers actively lobbying and getting into positions of power of the cricket bodies, both at the BCCI and state levels. A Supreme Court appointed committee headed by former Chief Justice of India, Justice R.M.Lodha, to look into the affairs of IPL and BCCI, has now come out with a report with a series of recommendations. One of the recommendations is that no minister or government servant should become an office bearer of the BCCI. Is this recommendation a viable one, and what are the pros and cons of having political people holding such positions in the sports bodies? Can the Lodha Committee report be implemented? We will discuss all this today with P Joshi, former President, Rajasthan Cricket Association and a former Union Minister, on phone line from Jaipur, Surinder Khanna and Atul Wassan, both former Indian cricketers, and Shekhar Luthra, sports editor, DNA. Welcome to all of you. Mr. Joshi, coming to you first. I mean, this recommendation of Justice Lodha's committee is going to affect people like you directly. What do you have to say to this?
So far, me is concerned, I don't consider me as a party to this issue. But as a citizen, I can say that in democratic setup, we elect the government, the elected government represent the number of ministries. So why we isolate that the BCCI should not be represented by politicians? The politician can run the government and then looking after the development of the country from all aspects. Why we thinking that the politician will not able to do something good for the sports? But just because there is some scandal in the cricket, so the cricket should not be headed by a politician. I don't agree with this. It is anti-democratic thinking.
It's an you have had experience of running cricket associations in Rajasthan. There have been a lot of criticism. There has been about politicians taking over these bodies. So you think that this is something which is anti-democratic. It's a very serious thing which you are saying.
I'm saying if something wrong, then the system is there. Check and balance is there. Whosoever commit the wrong practices or do wrong, they should be punished. But why should isolate that the politician being on the helm of the efforts patronize these things? Means that we don't have the system where we can stop these things.
Okay, I mean that's very interesting. Thank you. Please stay on, sir. I'll come back to you. Let me get the cricketers' version and the others on the panel. Mr. Surinder Khanna. Mr. Surinder Khanna, you have been a crusader. Girish. You have been virtually a crusader about what's happening in Delhi Cricket Association, and also I'm sure you have your point of view about how the BCCI is run or the IPL and things like that, because of which Supreme Court had to appoint this committee to look into it. Now, how do you look at this recommendation and this specific recommendation especially?
I think we all welcome the committee's recommendations, and it is a Supreme Court appointed committee where Lodha Sahab is ex-Chief Justice of India.
Right.
And Ravindran and Bhan, very respected retired judges of their time. And they have done an extensive and a wonderful job. We should accept in totality and not have this attitude that why we are being stopped and why this is happening. We must do this. What had not happened for 65, 70 years. And we have reached a stage where so much corruption is happening in all the sports federations and bodies. And the protection is provided by our eminent, ministers and politicians, because the control of the federation and BCCI and the DDCA or any state body is with people who need the protection from these politicians. They are very good people. We don't have any problem with them. But the only problem is that they provide protection to these goons who are looting money, which is the sports money. And so much corruption has happened that Supreme Court, for the first time in the history, had to take notice of it. There are very genuine, like Joshi ji, outstanding administrator and a very good sports lover. Madhavrao Sindhya in the past, Wankhede Saab, Our president of the BCCI, those who have done that, led the BCCI and many state federation. Unfortunately, they don't have the time. They are not full-time cricket administrators. That is where the problem comes.
Sorry.
All those Johnnies who are there for 30, 40 years, Girish, let me finish.
Yeah.
All those Johnnies who are there for 30, 40 years, they take advantage of that protection provided by them. There is nothing wrong.
No.
He has a very valid point. It's a democratic right if you are a parliamentarian. But I have a problem here that in cricket, even a lawyer comes and becomes the president, a doctor comes and becomes the president. Can a cricketer become the president of High Court or Supreme Court or Medical Association, the Indian Medical Association? Why can't cricketers be running the game of cricket?
No, that is.
There are outstanding people like Brijesh Patel is there, a very successful administrator. Vengsakar is there, the vice president of Mumbai. There is Kirti Azad, 3-time Lok Sabha MP and member of the World Cup winning team. There is Dave Richardson. Then there is Kumble, engineer by profession, cricketer par excellence. In the past we had Prasanna, we had Venkat Raghavan. They were also engineers.
No, Mr. Surinder.
Why can't they be made to run the board of
Surinder,
control
nobody,
for cricket in India?
Surinder,
but these
nobody.
non-sportsmen,
Surinder,
in
nobody.
with the politicians, they don't allow various sports persons in cricketers. They stop Prakash Padukone to come in badminton, and same lines Bhagat Singh to come in hockey. There are outstanding people.
Okay, Surinder, my question is this, all your point is well taken.
We have no problem with politicians. They are wonderful people. They are leading our country beautifully.
No, cricketers should run the cricket body. All these things are fine. We have been discussing, this discussion has gone on for years. But, as far as this recommendation is concerned, from what you said, I have a question. Please listen to me.
And becomes an expert
please listen
of
to me,
cricket. They have
Surinder.
never held the bat.
Surinder, please,
but
I know.
A cricketer can't go to a High Court or Supreme Court
Surinder,
or to the
please
Indian
listen to
Medical Association.
Please.
The parliamentarians should also run the Supreme Court then.
Surinder, please listen to my question. My question is this. Is the problem which you are talking about politicians not having enough time to devote to run the administration of the bodies, sports bodies, is that your major problem? Or is your problem that, as you said, you are talking about some Johnnies running around, running these bodies for several decades, and then they need protection from this. What is your exact problem as far as politicians, having a say in these sports bodies or being office bearers here?
As a citizen of India, everyone has a right to be where he wants to, provided he has the expertise and time for that particular thing where he wants to come in. Unfortunately, we have very good people, like in Delhi, Mr. Jaitley, when he came in, he got the cricket stadium for us, which had not happened for 50 years. And there were so many of problems, He's a great cricket lover. But then, under him, the people over there, they were siphoning off funds, He didn't have the time to spend there. And all this happened. We brought this to his knowledge, He didn't do anything.
Yeah,
because if he had done something, they would have removed him as president because the control of the association was with these people because they had the proxies.
Okay.
He would have been out.
No,
Same way in
Surinder,
other associations, if XYZ become the president of Jaipur, Rajasthan, the other Johnnies there, they will throw him out.
Okay.
If they are not allowed to,
okay, let me get Mr. Joshi. Let me get Mr. Joshi to respond to this. Surinder, let me get Mr. Joshi. Would you like to respond before I go to Atul Wassan, please?
We have to appreciate there's something wrong. Maybe politician or any cricketer, if he's on the helm of the affair, the things can happen. Our concern should be that we should have a fair selection system where politician or anybody should not intervene. The selection should be by cricketer. I do agree. But so far the scandals are concerned, we should have the strict system to punish the people. Rather than blaming who should on the helm of the affairs, I don't agree with this.
Okay.
So long you have a democratic setup, you have a right to elect the people. The elected person can be a politician and non-politician. In cricket, you should identify that the selection should be fair and should be by the cricketers. I 100% agree. And rest everything, we should have a mechanism and we should punish whosoever on the helm of the affairs, whether it's a politician or anybody else.
So you say that it can't be generalized. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me get Atul Wassan in on this. Surinder, I'll come back to you later. Atul Wassan, the question is this, that, Mr. Joshi, one of a politician, a former union minister, a very senior respected politician from Rajasthan, he has held positions there. He thinks that this is anti-democratic. As far as cricket is concerned, as far as selection is concerned, fine, cricketers should have a say, as far as rules and all those things, that cricketers should have a say. But administration, why should politicians only be targeted and be kept out?
Yeah, I don't want to burden this debate by, other periphery notifications made in this thing, what they've come out with. What I can do is, we must appreciate, there's no right and wrong in this. We must actually respect the collective judgment of these three people who are super minds, So I think if they have made a recommendation, they must have got their reasons. When I can think of something, if a politician is there as an office bearer, as an executive office bearer, I think where do they find the time? They've got a bigger canvas, they've got bigger problems to handle, So this symbolic thing, executive position should be taken out. If they want to join an association, they should be as like a father figure, as a patron, who is not exactly involved, and hence in the future they will not be blamed for any impropriety. So I think that is one thing. Second of all, I think, in the case of ministers, so I think everybody, if you're a sports lover, you want to associate with the game, fine. But what happens is, as Surinder said brilliantly, I think, because what happens, once they became, they are there because of the system who has put them there. So the people and the journeys who put them there expect that they run the thing under the umbrella of that big man there. And if the big guy, the minister, the politician doesn't have the time to look what they're doing, they carry on doing. And that's what happened in Delhi. So eventually we've come to a point where if we can make an issue out of it and restrict people just for the sake of the adulation, the fame, the media coverage, politicians coming and joining a sport, I think that is not the real way to actually add or contribute to the sport.
Okay, that's interesting. Shekhar, coming to you, I want you to, because we have seen sports bodies, we have seen sportsmen, we have, you have seen, all of us have seen how in several cases, forget cricket, but other sports bodies also, people go behind the politicians to become patrons, to become, to hold positions of authority in those sports bodies, because they think that when these politicians are holding positions of power in the sports bodies, they are able to get their work done better. So that is one of the advantages. What are the advantages of having a politician?
Advantage is huge. I mean, in a way, what Surinderji was saying, when Mr. Jaitley came in, actually, there was so much of problem because of, archaeological survey and all, that you could not build that stadium in Firozshah Kotla. He got all the sanctions.
In fact, all these years, Firozshah Kotla, there was no stadium because of that archaeological problem.
And he got all the permissions, being a minister, being an opposition leader, that's fine. But the point is, what Atul is saying is very important. If they have to become, the part of any system, are they becoming it because of an individual? No. They don't have any powers to be, president of any association, because the proxies, because the powers, the state associations, district administration, that is all lying with somebody else. So these politicians become tool of, using them for the wrong reasons.
So you are saying that the politicians are being used.
Take
it
two
is not
examples.
that the politicians are
No,
using.
No, not at all. Not at all. Take two examples. I'll just give you two most important examples. When Mr. Jaitley, recently, when he left this and all this corruption issues cropped in. So what was the plea given by BJP? Why BJP is trying to defend Mr. Jaitley? Has BJP deputed him to be the president of DDCA? No. Then why party is becoming a party in all these things? So my point is, when Mr. Jaitley was on a very individual capacity, was president of this, why should party be kept away from this? Second important thing is, Mr. Jaitley.
So what are you trying to say? You're trying to say that politics gets...
he didn't have time to devote to DDCA, but he was still a very permanent fixture there.
No, and
but
also
now
they
are trying to say he was non-functional person. Can you say this to Mr. Amit Shah? Amit Shah is very much part of Gujarat Association. Under his nose, there are a lot of good things or the bad things have been happening. Do he has the time to devote to the Gujarat or to BCCI when Mr. Wassan was doing all kind of wrong things? I mean, point is, BJP party or Congress party for that matter, P Joshi belongs to, they all come behind these politicians whenever they, they are in trouble. Why is party being associated or made party when to defend wrong things?
No, that's a different matter. But Mr. Joshi, is it No, it's very interesting. People feel that, you people are being taken for a ride by a set of people in your state or at a central level who wants you to head these associations because they have a vested interest and they expect you to protect them.
If the inference is such, then my point is justified. That why you blame politicians? Politicians are not responsible. So the system is responsible for this. We should create a system where such things should not happen, whether it's a politician or anybody else.
No, that means that...
That is why they are trying to clean up the system.
That means,
give them a chance. These officials, they are ex-Chief Justice of India. They are trying to clean up the system. Why can't we give them a chance?
No, that's not the point. Mr. Joshi, when you are saying that, that then you can't blame the politicians, you are actually admitting to the charges being made by panelists here that, politicians are taken for a ride by a few people. You accept that fact that, you are made the association president, Rajasthan Cricket Association president, because certain people wanted you there. There are certain power play which is going on there. You have become a part of that power play.
No, do you think that a politician is such a novice person? Politicians are a well-matured person. They know that how they can contribute to the development of whether the state or the government of India or the sports. They contributed. The panelists have already given example how Mr. Jaitley has put his all efforts to have a stadium in Firozpur Kotla. So you have to appreciate it that the issue is that what Supreme Court is addressing it, the wrongdoing in the BCCI. Please address the issue.
No,
for 50%, we are for this. But don't blame that the politicians on the elbow effort. That's why these things are happening. I don't agree with this.
No,
Either you don't have the elected system, close the election system and have the only proviso that the cricketer will be on the helm of the affairs or the hockey player will be on the helm of the affairs. But you see that being a good player may not be a good administrator.
Absolutely. And that doesn't... I agree with... As far as that point is concerned, I agree with you. Yeah. I agree with. We have seen this.
Girish,
we have seen this happening. Yes.
Girish,
I want.
One important.
I'll come to you, Atul.
One most important thing which we have all left is,
can I say something?
All these politicians.
Can I just?
They want to be part of any cricket association because they get more footage, they get more eyeballs. As a minister, as a politician, probably they don't get the same kind of publicity which they could get in an IPL match
I agree with that.
or in a World Cup matches.
Okay. In fact, I both all of you. We know the kind of people who have become kind of politicians who have become presidents of state associations in the last decade or so are people who have had no clue about what cricket is all about. Yes, Atul or Surinder, you want to come in first before I go to Atul?
I was just listening to Mr. Joshi,
yes.
And I just wanted to say his point is valid. You can't blame, but there's something called moral responsibility. If a train derails, there's a cry out for resignation of the ministers. Ministers resign for something. Home Minister is asked to resign if there is some security lapse. So if you are putting yourself up as a figurehead where you can't actually micromanage, then be ready for holding to moral responsibilities. If like there were 5 politicians in IPL Governing Council, if there was impropriety, they should have resigned. How many people resigned? So if you want the benefits, if you want the gravy train, be ready to actually accept that there was a problem. I couldn't stop it and morally I resign. Yes, nobody does that. So you can't have your cake and eat it too.
I think you have a very good point there, Atul. Yes, Surinder.
I do agree. I subscribe to the views expressed by Mr. Khanna.
This is a very organized.
Mr. Joshi, I'll come back to you. I'll come to you 1 second. Let Surinder say. Yes, Surinder.
Girish,
yes.
This federations and cricket associations, BCCI, they have operated like this, and earlier on there was no money. So none of the politicians came into cricket.
Right.
Very few.
Right.
Those who came, they contributed, like Mr. Wankhede.
Right.
He got a Wankhede stadium built when there was a problem in Mumbai. CCI refused to give the ground. There was some tiff.
Right.
And Wankhede Sahab in 6 months got Wankhede stadium. They had values. They had character. Politicians of 70s.
And they were their lovers of the game.
Politicians of 2015 don't have that.
They were lovers of the game.
Now, you see how many scandals have come up, how much corruption has come up under the current regime of politicians.
We can't just generalize.
There may be very good people.
There are good people,
but so much corruption has happened.
People, we can't
so much
just paint them in
corruption is happening in sports federations.
Atul, let Surinder finish.
Atul, Girish, can
Yes,
I finish?
yes, Surinder, please continue.
Tell him to speak
Yes,
when
sir.
I finish.
Yeah, please continue.
You see, in federations, in the Olympic events, you see all the federations, are they run professionally? There is so much of corruption. People are there for 40 years
Exactly.
in one position.
We have seen what
You're
happened in
trying to
the...
tell me that there are no better people available in the country?
No, but that is the point I want to come to, Mr.
In
that's-
DDCA, there are people for 38 years, 37 years. In archery, for 47, 45 years.
Absolutely. 10 years. We have seen this happening in all sports bodies. People,
There are no
rule.
better people you're trying to tell
People,
me?
people rule the roost for decades and
yes.
nobody seems to be. No, but Shekhar, you tell me. If you have observed these sports bodies from close quarters, why is it that these players don't get involved in administration? Or do they try hard enough and they're still kept out? Or is it that they have their own shortcomings?
Two things. One is players also being divided, on certain issues. There are so much egos within the players. And second, point is, all these politicians, whenever they need players, they use and throw them out. Like what has happened in DDCA. For many years, there is one Mr. Chetan Chauhan, former player. Whenever there is a problem, the DDCA will whole DDCA will go behind him, and Chetan Chauhan will be the face of. Whether the match was abandoned, whether they were suspended, they will say, look,
17
the administration
years
is
he
being run by Chetan Chauhan. But whenever, there are other issues, whenever there is money, things being, to be taken care, Chetan Chauhan will be nowhere to be seen. There are two problems. And one more thing. People like Kirti Ajad or Bishan Singh Bedi or Mohinder Ramanath, all these,
Or
or
Surinder
Khanna, all these players have been kept out because they understand once these people will come in, they will probably try and control the game of cricket, which Justice Lodha is trying to say, that cricket should be run by cricketers. And once they will take care of selection and running cricket matters, then all their powers, all these Johnnies who have been running and giving package deals or offering package deals to younger kids and making money, they'll be out. These cricketers will be ruling. So they don't want cricketers to come in, and on the other hand, they want cricketers to be used as pawn.
Okay, Mr. Joshi, is that the problem? No, in your own experience, what is your experience in these matters? Because we have heard this time and again. For years we have been hearing this. Why can't players themselves administer their sports bodies? But we have seen that even in some places where they have tried to do, they have not been very successful. You think that is it your opinion that players don't make good administrators?
And I don't see that. There may be exception. Player may be a good administrator. The issue is simple. That the corruption is there in IPL or BCCI. Have rules and punish. If the politician on the helm of the affairs, they should own it. They should be punished for that. But we have to appreciate it that administration and the play, these are the two different the faculty where we require two type of experts. So far the selection is concerned, it should be professionally by the cricketer. So far the cricket is concerned. So far the administration is concerned, the politician or player can be a good administrator. So we should not mix up these two issues together. We should focus our issue on corruption. If some malpractice has taken place, whosoever, whether it's a politician on the they should own it, and they should be punished. It should be as simple as that.
Okay. So Surinder and Wassan, I want both of you.
To this?
Surinder, Wassan, you want to come in first?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to actually, I'm listening to everybody and everybody's got a valid point, but I will actually be more objective rather than subjective. The problem is that, the system, so I think the biggest thing is, can you hit on the proxy system? Can cricketers eventually get in if they want to? I don't endorse this point that cricketers, maybe they're qualified or not. If somebody can manage their game with 1,000 variables, I'm sure he's a good administrator as well. Give them a chance. And time has come with the money and the game has become so professional. So key positions should be with the professionals. You can easily hire them. And I understand the cricketing aspect, but they should be given a chance to have a say in administration also. And people who are there, they should be accountable. You can't just run with the hare and hunt with the hounds at the same time and then say, oh, I was not watching it, I didn't know what they were doing. So my question is, can Bishan Singh Bedi beat CK Khanna in DDCA cannot because the proxies. So unless you hit on the fundamental system,
So there
the cricket
needs
is
to
run,
be a basic
cricketer,
reform. It is
these
not
people
just
will always be
Even
there
Mr.
and
Arun
politicians
Jaitley
will
can't
be,
beat CK Khanna. Arun Jaitley was
Okay.
there because of CK Khanna.
Surinder, my question is this. This is all fine. All of you have backed the Justice Lodha Commission report, the committee's report. Now, as sportsmen, as cricketers,
They have done a commendable job.
No, will you people come forward and say, okay, we will take this responsibility and whatever reforms need to be done in the BCCI, in the state cricket associations. Now that unless that is done, as Atul rightly points out, none of you will be able to even occupy those positions.
No, we are not talking about corruption, raising this issue to come into the association.
No, I'm not talking
saying
individually.
all those like Dave Richardson, a South African wicketkeeper, par excellence, world-class wicketkeeper, lawyer by profession, is the CEO of ICC.
Yes.
Andrew Strauss, captain of England, lawyer by profession, solicitor. He is heading the cricket in England. There are outstanding examples, many in Salim Altaf, a fast bowler who got Sunil Gavaskar out for 0, caught in slips. Lawyer, MBA, top shot of PIA. So there are number of people in various games who are very good in cricket as well as like Anil Kumble. He is an engineer. We have Srinath, we had Shrikant. There are many other cricketers who can be very good administrators. Prakash Padukone in badminton, Pargat Singh, he is a very senior officer in the police in Punjab. In swimming, we have Khadan Singh. We have so many outstanding people. Zafar Iqbal in hockey. There is Ajit Pal. Who gives them the chance to come? All those politicians, they run the country, boss. They want to come into everything. Unka bus chale to they can go into the Supreme Court also, become the Chief Justice also.
Okay.
One important
Can't get into cricket administration.
Okay.
A doctor can come here. We can't go to IMA and become the head of IMA.
Okay, Surinder, I think you made that point. Yes.
70
Shekhar.
to 80%.
No, Shekhar, my question is this. Now, you think that these recommendations can really be applied and can really work?
Why not? Because I was there.
Girish, one important point I want to make
Quickly,
before you wind
we are
up.
running out of
One
time.
important.
Yes, very quickly.
Very quickly, 5 seconds.
Yes.
There was a law in England. That is why the captain of Pakistan team and 3 players were sentenced to jail. All these politicians are in the parliament, but they haven't made a law where are fixing, betting and all these wrongs which are committed in sports can be punished.
Okay.
That's why they are not going to jail, all these people.
Okay.
Because
Shekhar,
they don't make the law.
you think this can be implemented?
Oh yes, why not? I think.
Or you think, is there a senior... You think this will be implemented?
Look, I am not a legal reporter, but I was there in Supreme Court during the entire hearing of Mr. Srinivasan. During that hearing, when the Justice Lodha committee was formed, Supreme Court, now he is the Chief Justice, Honorable Mr. Thakur. He asked everybody along with Justice Khalifullah, will you agree to all the recommendations? It will be high power committee like 2G and Colgate. They all agreed, all 3 parties agreed, yes, we will abide by this. So point is, if they are agreed party, go there. But point is, 80 to 90% of the problems can be resolved by just one thing. One man, one post, one state, one vote. If they can implement that much, I think half of the politicians, half of the people could be,
That is also one of the major recommendations of this committee. Mr. Joshi, very quick last words to you. You think that this can be implemented, and if you think that it is implemented, what will be the outcome?
If you implement, it will not solve the problem. Our aim is that we should improve the quality of the game, and we should improve the wrongdoing in the games. Whether it is run by politician or non-politician. The issue is that how to address the corruption in the system.
Right.
That committee recommendation will partly solve the problem. It will not solve the problem as we are expecting it. Yes, the efforts are good, but blaming politician will not solve the problem. We have to address the issue how the system can be improved and no wrongdoing can take place. That should be our approach.
Okay, sir. Okay. On that note, I think the point is that this very, very high-powered committee, which is unprecedented actually, that a Supreme Court former Chief Justice should have headed a committee like this, has come out with this report. Now, how it is going to be implemented or whether it is going to be implemented in the way it has been recommended is something we'll have to wait and watch. There are different opinions, as you have seen in the last half an hour. We'll wait and watch how it will all play out in the future. Thanks to all my guests. Please keep watching. We'll come back with another issue, The Big Picture, same time tomorrow.